We're far from the first people to roam the earth, so, everywhere we go, we're likely coexisting with the spirits of those who came before us. While we usually don't give that idea a second thought, some places put it front and center of your mind, especially locations that are teeming with ghosts who've not quite found their way into the afterlife. So in this video we will discuss top 10 most haunted places in the world. Number 10. Moundsville Penitentiary. During its more than 100 years in operation, the Moundsville Penitentiary in West Virginia was one of America's most violent correctional facilities and the final stop for almost 1,000 criminals. The prisoners lived in cramped quarters, which led to riots. Many men were hanged or killed in the electric chair, while others were murdered by other prisoners. The prison closed in 1995, but according to some, the tortured spirits are still behind bars and in the bowels of the prison, and may be seen or heard on a tour. Number 9. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Once known as the Weston State Hospital, this asylum was home to thousands of people with mental illness, starting in 1864. Hundreds of people died here before the facility closed in 1994. The spirits that are said to haunt the site today date back to the Civil War era, when the asylum's grounds served as a military post. Paranormal tours of the facility feature 2-hour visits to the asylum's 4 main hotspots. The more intense ghost hunt is an 8-hour, overnight paranormal adventure with experienced ghost hunting guides. Number 8. Villisca Axe Murder House. On June 10, 1912, the old white frame house at 508 East 2nd became a grisly crime scene. The heinous murder of Josiah B. Moore, his wife, their 4 children and 2 young girls who were overnight guests rocked the small town of Villisca, Ia, and the murderer was never identified. Over the years, residents of the home reported visions of a man with an axe, children crying, and unexplained paranormal activity. In 1994, the home was restored to its original condition with no indoor plumbing or electricity. These touches add to the chilling ambience during a lamplight tour from April through November or an overnight experience available by reservation for groups. Number 7. Sammy Dean. Jerome, AZ is a former copper mining town with a paranormal reputation that dates back to the Wild West. The town is now home to just 400 residents, down from 15,000 in its heyday. But legend has it there are plenty more ghostly residents from the days of mining accidents and gunfights. One well-known spirit is the working girl Sammy Dean, a prostitute who was strangled by a customer in the Old Crib district. Her beautiful spirit roams the alleys looking for her killer, who was never found. Number 6. Cuban Club. Cuban Club, also known as Circulo Cubano de Tampa, can be found in Tampa's Ybor City neighborhood. In 1917, this spot was a popular hangout for Cuban immigrants who enjoyed the ballroom, outdoor band shell, and cantina with a stage and dance floor. Today, the compound, which is protected by the National Historic Register, hosts concerts and special events, and is the setting for many ghost stories about spirits playing the piano and riding the elevators. Visitors and paranormal investigators have reported shadowy figures, disembodied voices, ghostly piano music, and even apparitions in 1920s attire. The Cuban Club has been featured on ghost hunting shows like Ghost Hunters and Most Terrifying Places in America. Number 5. Fort Mifflin. Built in 1771, Fort Mifflin is the country's only Revolutionary War battlefield that is still intact. There are 14 restored buildings on the grounds on the Delaware River and reportedly plenty of spirits from the past. Among the ghosts said to haunt the fort is a screaming woman whose cries are so loud that the Philadelphia police have been called to investigate, only to find no one there. Other characters in the local ghost stories include a faceless man wandering around the fort, a tour guide dressed in Revolutionary garb, and numerous children and dogs. Number 4. Moon River Brewery. The Moon River Brewery brought its beloved beers to Savannah in 1999, but the building is one of the oldest in town, dating back to 1821. In its original incarnation, it was the City Hotel, a high-end hotel with a history of violence during the Civil War. Men were killed in the hotel during heated skirmishes, including a Yankee who was beaten to death by locals in 1860. Some bar patrons today say they've seen bottles mysteriously fly through the air and have witnessed guests being pushed, touched, and even slapped by unseen forces. One resident apparition, Toby, is said to skulk around the billiards room looking for the next great bar brawl. Number 3. The Sultan's Palace. The house at 716 Dauphins is a classic French Quarter beauty with classic wrought iron balconies and a large courtyard. But in the 1800s, this residence was a house of horrors for the Sultan, a wealthy man with a depraved lifestyle, multiple wives and children, and a harem of women and young boys held against their will. Neighbors complained about the mysterious habits of this man who had a predilection for partying, opium, and torture. But the greatest mystery in the house was the Sultan's demise, when he was buried alive in the courtyard after his family and harem were hacked to pieces in a bloodbath by an unknown perpetrator. Today, his angry spirit is thought to be responsible for the unusual noises, loud music, and strong incense smells that waft from the home, as well as unwelcome advances on past female residents who swear the Sultan is still up to his old tricks of groping female visitors. Number 2. Bhangarh Fort, India. Once a mighty fortress in Rajasthan, legend has it that Bhangarh Fort was completely abandoned overnight. Why it was abandoned isn't entirely clear. Some say a hermit cursed it. But myths surround the 16th century fortress, and its spooky status is so strong that it is illegal to be there after dark. The most popular legend associated with Bhangarh Fort revolves around a sorcerer who fell in love with Princess Ratnavati. He attempted to bewitch her with a magical potion, but the princess saw through his trick and reversed the spell, leading to the sorcerer's death. Before dying, he is said to have cursed the fort, dooming it to destruction. Soon after, the fort was attacked, and most of its inhabitants were massacred. Locals believe that the fort is still haunted by spirits, and eerie sounds, shadows, and inexplicable occurrences have been reported. The fort is so notorious that the Archaeological Survey of India has prohibited visitors from entering between sunset and sunrise. Number 1. Paris Catacombs, France. The Paris Catacombs are an extensive underground ossuary in Paris, France, housing the remains of over 6 million people. Known for their eerie atmosphere and historical significance, they stretch for over 200 miles, 300 kilometers, beneath the city, though only a small portion is open to the public. The catacombs were established in the late 18th century to address the issue of overflowing cemeteries in Paris. As mass graves became a health hazard, authorities transferred human remains into the underground limestone quarries beneath the city. The bones were carefully arranged into walls and artistic structures, creating the macabre yet mesmerizing ossuary that exists today. The catacombs have long been associated with ghost stories and urban legends. Some visitors report hearing whispers, feeling strange presences, or even getting lost. In 2010, a mysterious video was discovered showing a man seemingly lost in the tunnels, adding to the catacombs' eerie reputation. Thank you guys for watching. If you want more videos like this, make sure to like the video and hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.